Tonight on SUTV World News, we take a look at what to expect from inside the Olympics in Tokyo, and a man in Albania jumps into action in an incredible fashion. That and more right now on SUTV World News. Less than 3 months now until the start of the Olympic Games in Tokyo, and organizers have restarted test events with athletes to see how prepared they are. CNN's Blake Essig has more.
We're at the Tokyo Aquatic Center, one of the venues which will be used for the Olympic and Paralympic Games. With less than 3 months to go before the start of the Olympics, this is one of the first test events being held since the Games were postponed more than a year ago. Test events like this serve as a dress rehearsal for Olympic organizers, an opportunity to work out the kinks ahead of the Games. In this case, only a limited number of Japanese athletes are participating. Here in the mixed zone, only 12 journalists are allowed in at any time. As a result, because of COVID-19, this virtual setup is one option being considered to allow equal access to athletes. When it comes to antivirus measures, it's clear Olympic organizers are still figuring things out. This is the media room inside the Aquatic Center where social distancing doesn't seem to be an option. While it hasn't been decided, this is what the Tokyo Olympic and Paralympic Games could look like. Empty arenas with no fans and athletes competing to the sound of music, which does help mask the silence. Despite a fourth wave of infection growing and Tokyo being placed under its third state of emergency order, Olympic organizers and the Japanese government remain committed to holding the Games as scheduled this summer. Blake Essig, CNN, Tokyo.
Protests in Colombia over a new tax reform. Unions and organizations are carrying a national strike against the initiative. Protesters took to the streets in different cities of the country despite the call from authorities to halt the march due to increase of COVID-19 cases. Japan has become one of the most active networks for the members of the conspiracy cult known as QAnon. And while the theory has its roots in American politics, experts warn that it's quickly going global. In Japan, it's beginning to take on a life of its own. Selena Wang reports.
Protesters march against President Joe Biden's inauguration. No, this isn't the U.S., it's Japan, waving American flags and carrying signs like these. Among them, QAnon supporters. QAnon may be in disarray in America after Trump's election loss, but not in Japan. Its niche, yet by many accounts, is growing. One group calls itself Q Army Japan Flynn, after Trump's former national security advisor Michael Flynn. One member, Hiromi, is an acupuncturist, divorced with 3 children. What does QAnon mean to you?
I used to think it was my fault when things didn't go well. It was because I wasn't educated or didn't have talent or money. But when I found Q Army Japan Flynn on Twitter, I felt so much more certain about my place in the world.
Hiromi believes the U.S. election may have been stolen from Trump, but adds their group did not support the violence during the Capitol Hill riots. Experts say QAnon's spread of baseless conspiracies is a danger to Japanese society. But Hiromi says it's about giving those who are struggling a feeling that they can change society. Another member, Tuhei, graduated from college and studied architecture. He has 1 son, used to work in real estate, and is now a delivery worker. What do you think of Japanese society today?
It's so tough to stay afloat, even with both parents working. I kept thinking something was so wrong, and that's when I discovered QAnon. It's not about whether Q believes in Trump or not. We want everybody to realize there is something wrong with the status quo. This movement isn't just limited to Japan. It's a global movement. That's why I joined.
QAnon in Japan shows how easily unfounded claims can move from the darkest corners of the internet to draw in people from around the world. In January, Twitter suspended the accounts of the members we spoke to. They say they've now moved to other platforms and are recruiting offline, including Jay here, who is a financial consultant but now travels across Japan to recruit, spreading misinformation along the way.
It's been one of the most self-sustaining communities and the most resilient. I think the major danger of QAnon is just an undermining of voices that are intended to deliver public information.
Q Army Japan Flynn members tell CNN their numbers have increased during the pandemic. They say they have members across the country, male, female, rich, and poor. Experts say recent actions from social media companies and Trump's defeat won't stop the conspiracies from flourishing. QAnon is rooted in the belief that the government and established institutions are lying to the public, an idea that many experts say will far outlive Trump and the 2020 elections. Selena Wang, CNN, Tokyo.
Claudian Elqueni has become a hero in Albania after he jumped feet first through the window of a moving car. He was successful in stopping a crazed driver from running over innocent bystanders in Tirana's Skanderbeg Square in Albania on Sunday. Police told CNN's Albanian affiliate, A2, that the driver was under the influence of narcotics. Thanks to the hero's efforts, no one was injured. That's it for SUTV World News. I'm Stefan Gergishanov. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media at SUTV News and check out our website at sutvnews.org. We're back with ship news and more on Friday. Until then, good night.